guys, it's Kayla and welcome back to Angel or Devil. Last time we started Ruvel's route and now we are going to jump into Chapter 2. Ruvel main story Chapter 2. I'll be able to see my family, but only if I become an angel? Lattice's sudden revelation gave me energy. What do I need to do to become an angel? Lattice offered his hand. Why, if you would only come with me. That moment, my brother's painting in the art museum came to mind. But I have something I want to paint. A painting? I explained further for the benefit of a confused-looking Lattice. Yes, I'd like to complete a painting during the next 7 days. I see. If that is your final wish, then I shall wait for its completion. However, be sure not to allow that beautiful soul of yours to be tarnished. With that, Lattice departed true to his word. Was this what Ruvel meant when he asked if I wanted to see my brother? Still contemplating, I climbed into bed. The next day, I awoke to find myself in familiar, unchanged surroundings. It seemed I was alone. What if yesterday was all a dream? But a memo left behind on the table brought me back to reality. Ah, right, I have to go back to the hospital and pick up my things. I prepared to go out. Am I all out of this? Maybe I should buy this too. On the way back from the hospital, I had stopped by an art supply store to stock up. It sure is pretty fun to look around for art supplies. While I was deep in thought and looking around, I accidentally dropped a pin I had picked out. The next moment, whoa there. It's Ruvel's actual face. Oh my god, he's so cute. A young man who had been standing nearby caught the pin mid-air. Oh, here. I smiled and accepted the pin he offered me. Thank you very much. He gave an accepting grunt and I moved away hastily. I feel like I've seen him before. Am I imagining things? She doesn't even recognize him? Well, he did kind of look like the Grim Reaper from Sims 2 before. Dwelling on this, I finished collecting supplies and left the store. What nice weather today. It's the kind of day you'd want a picnic on. The weather was so nice that I took a detour through a nearby park to enjoy it. But there, a familiar-looking young man was sitting on a bench. Hey, I just saw him. I came closer and nodded in greeting. Hello, thanks for catching the pin. He looked over at me and lazily opened his eyes wider. I mean, back at the art store? He bowed his head in comprehension. Are you painting something? I smiled faintly at his sudden question. Yeah, my brother was an artist. The conversation was cut short by his listless reply. That's right. Let me buy you a canned drink and thanks. I then rushed off to the nearest vending machine. I hope he's okay with juice. I was returning to the bench with a can of juice in hand, but on the way I had to stop and gawk at a dense, beautiful flower bed. Wow, this is beautiful. As I stood there in admiration, something wrong? At some point, the young man had made his way to my side. Oh, I was just thinking about how pretty these flowers are. The young man didn't sound so convinced. Yeah, but it's only for a moment. For them to bloom so fleetingly, what a waste. What a waste. I immediately opened my mouth to reply. It's not a waste. I don't think it's a waste at all. I turned to look him in the face. They bloom their best for a moment so that the next year a new life appears. I think that's something we should see as very important. Important? Yeah. Doesn't it seem like all living things strive in the same way? I could almost see faint thoughts flickering across his eyes. I wouldn't know. What? His murmur spread through my heart like a ripple on water. I see, but I think there's meaning to their existence in this. That's a very important thing. The blooming flowers, yes, but also me, and you too. He cast a stare at my feet. Shoot, I probably sound annoying like this. Just then, I remember the can of juice I held in my hand. Sorry I'm rambling. Take this, if you'd like. I offered him the can of juice. He accepted it with a confusing expression on his face. Thanks. He bobbed his head in thanks and turned to walk away. Watching his back recede into the distance, I suddenly... wait a moment, please. Before I knew it, I was calling out to him. This is just an idea I had, but would you like to go get some coffee? That was all I could manage in my flustered state. With a baffled expression, he looked down at his can of juice. That's right. I just gave him that already. Sorry, forget it about it. He exhaled sharply. Goodbye. Trying to keep my heart still, I watched him leave. Why on earth did I do that? Pondering my actions, I witnessed his figure abruptly disappear. I rushed over to where I just last saw him. He was there, collapsed on the ground. Excuse me? I spoke to him, but he didn't move. An ambulance! I hurriedly fished out my cell phone, but then... I'm fine. His eyes opened slowly. Are you feeling okay now? I barely managed to get him back to my house. He looked around in a sort of daze, lying on the ground. Wouldn't it be best to get to a hospital? Not really. He raised himself slightly. I was just a bit tired. Like with anemia? As I asked, he patted his hair back. Maybe. He continued,
Why did you help me?
Now he stared into my face. Well, I saw you collapse. It was a real surprise. I gave him a smile and he bowed in gratitude.
That was helpful. Thanks.
My heart was somewhat warmed by his expression of thanks. No, I haven't done anything that extraordinary. My name's Kayla Michelle. What's yours? Our eyes met, speeding up my pulse by a bit.
My name's...
I wonder if he'll tell us it's Ruvel or make something up. What do you guys think? He paused for a moment.
Ruvel.
He sputtered it out matter-of-factly. Huh? Ruvel? Nobody I know from around here is named that, except for that Reaper, I think. You'd think she'd put it together at this point. But despite my shock, I'd feel a lot more awkward than this if it was a Reaper I was talking to.
What?
I smiled in panic under his incessant stare. No, it's nothing. Nice to meet you, Mr. Ruvel.
Just Ruvel.
But now that I think about it, that Reaper acted a lot like this person does. If only I could remember his face. Hard as I tried, for some reason, I couldn't quite picture his face. He looked to be around my age, but...
Also, you don't need to speak to me so stiffly. Talk normal.
My cheeks relaxed and I spoke again. Alright then, Ruvel, are you a student? Or do you have some sort of job?
Job.
Huh? What kind of job? He looked down at his feet.
It's nothing much.
Maybe I shouldn't have asked. Is your body okay?
For now, it will be.
Do you want something to drink? I've got tea, juice too.
Not really.
I felt a silence, searching for a topic of conversation. Oh yeah, I attempted to change the subject. You were in the art supply store too. Are you gonna paint something as well? He shook his head.
No.
Maybe it's not paintings you're interested in. I felt a bit disappointed.
But I don't mind looking at them.
He continued with a more favorable explanation. How about that? Then, have you ever been to the art museum down by the station? Ruvel's eyebrows finally moved.
I have.
Then, do you know about that big painting of an angel and a demon near the entrance? I took a small nod as a cue to continue. My brother painted that, actually. He stared blankly. It's my favorite painting. Silence gripped us, and I brought a teacup to my mouth. It's kind of hard to talk to this guy.
What about it?
His sudden question left me speechless. Huh?
What part of it makes it your favorite?
Oh, my brother's painting. I exhaled before continuing. The atmosphere around the angel and the demon, it's really pretty. The size has impact too. He didn't sound very interested, but he looked over at me and asked another question.
Why an angel and a demon?
Huh? You mean why did my brother paint it? I began to think. Come to think of it, why did he paint that, I wonder? Might he have met an angel and a demon before he died? Then maybe he painted it to escape the fear of death.
Kayla?
Ruvel called my name and I snapped back to my senses. I'm sorry, I'm not entirely sure of the reason, but I was thinking that I'd like to paint something like that.
I'd like to see that.
See what? My painting? Ruvel nodded solemnly.
I'd like to see your painting.
His piercing eyes pinned me in place. My brother was a painter, but this is just a hobby for me, you know?
It's fine, I just want to see what you would paint.
I stood up and looked to the side, startled for some odd reason. I do have some paintings from when I was in college. Before long, Ruvel was looking over a few paintings that I passed him. I watched him inspect them, feeling somewhat nervous.
Huh, not bad.
I breathed a sigh of relief.
So, what are you gonna paint?
Huh?
You're gonna paint something now, aren't you?
That's right, we first met in the art supply store. I haven't decided yet, but I might paint an angel or demon like my brother did. His face grew somewhat sad. Aw, he wants me to paint a Reaper, I bet. Did I say something off?
Well, can I watch?
Huh?
Watch you paint it.
I don't really mind, but I doubt it'd be that interesting. And anyways, how are you feeling health-wise?
I'm fine now. Can I watch?
His persistence pushed me into beginning my sketch. However, as one might expect, I couldn't concentrate in the presence of someone I'd only just met. This isn't going very well. Later on, I brought out my sketchbook for ideas, but I sighed deeply. Drat, it just doesn't look like I'm in the drawing mode today. Ruvel continued to watch, saying nothing. Then a thought struck me. Hey, do you want to try drawing something, Ruvel?
Huh?
Here, take this. I tore a page from my sketchbook and offered the page and pen to Ruvel. But he wouldn't take it. He simply turned it away.
I'm fine.
Let's draw together. There's plenty of materials. Why don't we draw together? He looked confused.
Why?
I just thought it'd be more fun if we did it together.
Fun?
Yeah, it's always more fun to do stuff together than alone, isn't it? His eyes opened a little wider. He paused to look at me.
Just for a bit then.
He grabbed the pen. It didn't take long for him to draw something up on the white page. It was a horse, an incredible detail. Wow, I didn't know you were hiding this kind of talent, Ruvel. I raised my voice in surprise. His drawing could have been the work of a professional. But for some reason, it looks kind of scary. The horse looked really realistic, but it left me with an uncomfortable feeling.
It's a horse from work.
Work? Was it a ranch you worked at? I gave him a smile, and he smiled back vaguely. But honestly, you really are good at drawing. Do you think you could teach me?
Me?
Yeah, I want to paint something during the next 7 days. No, I have to paint something.
Is 7 days really enough time?
It might be tough, but I've got to try. I don't have much time left. Alarmed at my own remark, I looked up at him. That had to sound weird, but after a brief period of watching me, he said,
Okay then.
He spoke softly.
I don't know how much I can teach you, but if that's what you want.
Huh? His voice was surprisingly kind. I sighed in relief. Great, thanks. I stood up swiftly.
But with that much time, you might have to spend all of your time drawing. Can you do that?
I nodded firmly. Sure, that's fine. As soon as I answered him, I came to a realization. But don't you have to work, Ruvel? He stared at me for a moment and then sniffed in amusement.
It's fine. Pretty much, I'll just stay here.
What?
I'll stay here until you're done with your painting.
This sudden turn in events left me dumbfounded, but it was nice to know I wouldn't spend my remaining days alone. You've got mail. It's from Ruvel this time. From Ruvel to Kayla, no subject.
Let's make this happen. I don't want to raise your hopes, but I can cook. I won't be seen as idle. Good night.
So is he saying he's gonna help around the house? Well, it looks like unexpectedly we're now gonna be living with Ruvel, and we don't even know that it's Ruvel. I don't know, it's so weird. I guess we'll find out if she finds out his identity, or how's it gonna be living together in the next chapter, so I will see you guys then. Bye!